Everyone, this is Stephanie. Welcome to another video. So today we're going to work on the zigzag necklace to go with the bracelet that we made. Now this bracelet, if you haven't seen it yet, it's using cubic right angle weave, and I wanted to demonstrate how to do turns. So I thought, well, instead of just demonstrating the turn, let's just make a bracelet out of it. So we did this one, and that's made with pearls. This one we did with gemstones, and this necklace goes with this one, of course, and it is made with onyx rounds, faceted gemstones. A lot of fun. I loved all the pictures you've posted on Facebook of the bracelet. So this is going to be a jam-packed video. We're going to be doing the entire necklace. Plus, I have 2 Toho Challenge 2022 mini kits to give away. And I will get into this giveaway, later on in the video. Okay, so I'm going to clear everything off and we're going to get started with the materials list. Okay, let's get a materials list going. So you need a base color seed bead. So I'm using these Preciosa Czech seed beads, and these are really pretty. These are from the Eureka Crystal Beads Wildfire collection, the most recent collection. And they've got a 23-gram tube here. So if you have your collection, or if it's on the way to you, you can use this. You have plenty to make an entire necklace and probably a couple of bracelets with this amount of seed beads. Okay. And I have, as my accent bead here, I'm using another 11-0. So there are 2 11-0s. You want to, more of one than the other. I'll put amounts in the description box below the video. I have this really pretty rose quartz 6mm stone, but you can use a 6mm pearl or a Druk. That's pretty, nice and cold. I love the feeling of it. I've got a little toggle clasp here. Some jump rings. You need 4 of them. My bead reamer, which is so much fun to do, cubic right angle weave. If you haven't joined me with that yet, take a look because it's a blast. Stop bead, size 10 and 12 beading needle. Fireline 8-pound black satin I'm using for the base, for the entire seed bead part. And I used Wildfire to attach the stones, but you don't have to. You can use Fireline for everything. I just found that the Wildfire grips a little bit better. The stones grip a little bit better, but it will still work the other way. So I think that's everything. Just a note. These Czech seed beads, they're a little smaller, and the hole is a little smaller than a Japanese seed bead, than let's say the Miyuki seed 11-0. Doesn't make a difference in the bracelet, just that's why you have a size 12 beading needle as well, so that, if you do get some tight spots, you can get through. All right, so I'm going to clear this off, and we'll get started. Okay, let's get started. So I'm going to use these Czech beads from, these are Preciosa seed beads. So these were from the most recent Eureka Crystal Beads collection, the Wildfire collection, so I thought we'd give them a shot for the sample. So here we go. We're going to thread our needle with about, maybe 4 or 5 feet of thread. You're going to have to add thread for this. So work with what's comfortable for you. Put on a stop bead and leave about an 8-inch tail or so. Just to sew in. So here I've picked up, and I'm going to drop down to my stop bead 4 of my 11-0 seed beads. So I'm just going to do that. And then I'm going to sew these into a circle or a unit by sewing through the first bead after my stop bead, like that. And it gives me a little, I'm going to push it into position. Should give you a little right angle weave unit just like that. So I'm just going to sew around the unit to reinforce it. So just sewing through every bead. I'm going to pass where your tail thread and your stop bead are coming out. So sewing through here. I'll go down another one. I want this first unit to be rather tight, and then just going to hold my unit just like that. Okay, so here I have my unit made, and I am exiting a side bead, the top of the side bead here. The tail thread doesn't really matter. I'm just going to put my bead reamer on just like that. See how I popped it right through? And I'm going to hold it like this. Now, if the bead reamer doesn't work for you, you can always do it any way that's comfortable for you. You can use a knitting needle, you can use a toothpick, you can just hold it in your hand, anything, any way that works for you. But I happen to like this little bead reamer. So pick up 3 of your 11-0s So I'm exiting, see the top of this side bead. I'm just going to hold it like this. I'm going to sew through the other side of the bead I'm exiting to put on the first face of my cube. That's what it looks like. I'm just going to rotate. See how I'm rotating up a bit, up, rotating my finger around a little bit. And I'm going to sew directly up through the next bead in line, which is this one. So I'm exiting this one. I'm going to sew through this one. Like that. I'm going to pick up 2 beads. I'm going to sew through this one and this one to put another face on. So 1, 2, 1, 2, right there. Just going to rotate, just going this way. See, I'm going to sew directly up through the next bead, like that. Now I have to add another face of my cube on. I'm going to pick up 2 of my beads. I'm going to sew through this one and this one. So 1, 2. Like that, I have another face on. I'm going to rotate again, like that. See that? So you just kind of, it's just a little maneuver. And I'm going to sew directly up through the bead that's right above the one I'm exiting. Like that. And see, I have 3 beads here. So this is the last face of the cube. When you have these 3 beads, you're going to put one right here. So in order to do that, I have to move my needle and thread through here, through the top bead, picking up an 11-0. I'm going to sew through this one and this one. 1, 2. Now I have the last face of my cube on. So we have the cube on, but we need to attach these 4 beads together. See, they don't have a thread through them. So exiting here, just going to sew directly through this one. That's the top bead, and then I'm just going to kind of turn it over a bit and hope that I don't get too blurry. I'm just going to put a thread through all these beads. So 1, 2, this one here, and then you want to turn it over here. You want to make sure you have a thread through between these last 2 beads. So through this one, and now I'm right back where I started from. And I can add some more beads on. So here you have your whole cube made. So not hard at all, I think, when you use the bead reamer, but you can use any technique you like. So get this done and come back and we'll add. Okay, let's add on a cube. So picking up 3 11-0s. Come here, you. There we go. Exiting here, I'm going to sew through the other side of the bead I'm exiting. And just make sure if you're using the bead reamer that you don't get caught on the edge. Just working around it. So there, 1 face on, rotating, advancing directly up through the next bead. It's getting easier now. Pick up 2. I'm going to sew through this one and this one. So 1, 2. Another face on. Rotate and advance. Picking up 2. I'm going to sew through this one and this one. 1, 2. Rotate. Advance. We're going to sew through the top bead. So we're down at the end of our unit, because we just have these 3 beads. So we just have to add 1 bead. Sewing through this one and this one. 1, 2. Across the top. Now sew all your beads together. So this one and this one. Here, here, and then one more, because you want to make sure you have a thread between each of those beads at the end. So one more. And now I have 2 cubes on. 2 units. There we go. All right, so I'm going to let you go and make 2 more on your own. And the way you're going to count is 1, 2. Just count the top bead or the bottom bead. 1, 2. So add 2 more on your own, and then come back and we'll make a turn. Okay, we're back. So I have my 4 units on. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I'm exiting right here. I'm just going to take my piece and take out the bead reamer, and I'm going to put the bead reamer right through here, so that out of the unit where my thread is exiting. All right, so this is what I have. I'm just exiting here. I'm just going to sew right through that bead on the side. Okay, let's make a turn here. So I'm going to change the color because I think it might be easier for you to see it if you're new to this. So I'm going to pick up 3 of my beads. Exiting here, I'm just going to sew through the other side of the bead I'm exiting, like that. Now I'm just going to rotate just like I've been doing. See, rotate. So we're doing the exact same thing, only you happen to be attached, you know, to this other part. You want to sew directly up the next bead, which is this pink bead right here. So you see I'm exiting this pink one right here, rotate, and up you go, right there. First face on, pick up 2. I want to make another right angle weave unit, so exiting here, this pink one, I want to use this one and this one. So sew through this one, and then the one I'm exiting. Gonna rotate and sew directly up the next bead. Just got caught here. Let me get my tail thread out. There we go. Okay, so just sewing directly up to the next bead. I just happened to get my tail caught. So just like that. I have these 2 here. I'm going to pick up 2. I'm going to sew through this one and this one. Pick another right angle weave face. Look how easy that is with this. I just love this method. And up through the next bead. And let's see, I just have my last 3 beads on here, so I need to add 1 to make my the last face of the unit, like that. And picking up 1, sewing through this one and this one. 1, 2. Sew through the top bead. Like that. And then you just want to sew those beads together. So you want to sew all these and come out of the same bead that you're exiting right now. So 1, 2. This one. This one. And then rotate. Make sure you've rotated around enough so you're coming out the bead you started from. And you can tell just by looking between these beads to make sure that you have a thread between each one. And now I have my first unit on, and it did the turn. So not hard at all. Just, you know, if you need to rewind, just rewind and go back and just do it. You can even slow the video down. There's a little place, I think the little 3 dots at the top of the screen. There's some place, I'll look and put it in the description box. You can actually slow the video down a little bit. My voice will get slower, but the actual video will go a little slower. Okay, so I've got the turn. So I want you to put 4 units on this way. So you're going to count this unit. So 1, and the one you just added, 2. Put 2 more units on and come back, and we'll make another turn. Okay, we're back. So we have our 4 units on. 1, 2, 3, and 4, counting that first one that was already there. Now we want to go in a zigzag pattern. So here, here, then we go down this way. Exiting here. So we want to be exiting this bottom bead right here. This guy. So I'm just going to sew around this unit till I get to that bottom bead. Like that. Okay, so I'm exiting the bottom unit. I'm going to take my bead reamer off, and I'm going to put it through the unit I'm exiting. So like that. Just hold holding it like so. And now we're going to add another unit on. So I'll switch colors again. Picking up 3, exiting here. I'm going to sew through the other side of the bead. I'm exiting like that to put the first face of that unit on. Rotate, move that tail thread, and advance. Pick up 2. Sew through this one and this one. 1, 2. Rotate. Easy now, huh? And advance. Picking up 2. Sew through these 2. 1, 2. See, I'm working around the tip of the bead reamer. Rotate and advance. So you see those 3 in there? So where the advance is going to be right up that green one, like that. And then I'm going to go through the top bead, like that. So I'm going to make a unit out of these 3 beads right here. Picking up my bead, sewing through this one and this one. 1, 2. Going a little faster now, like that. Going to sew through the top bead, like that. So now we have our unit on, but we have to sew it together. You're experts at this now, so go through these, all these beads. You want to make sure you have a thread in between each one, and you're going to exit exactly where you started from. So here, now I have a thread through every one, and I'm ready to put some more units on. So you're going to add 2 more units, so you have 4 going this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're going to make the turn and go up this way, and then down and up and down and up and down until you reach the length that you want for your necklace. All right, so I'm going to send you off to do that, and then come back and we'll continue. Have fun. Okay, just a little note. So I've done a few zigzags here. So when you're coming up this way and you'll be exiting this bead here, right? You want to make sure you move your thread around to this bottom bead here so you can go zigzag this way, okay? And then when you're going back up this way, you'll be exiting here. You just want to move your thread to come out of this bead, the top of this bead, so you can add units this way. So, I mean, we've done that already. I just wanted to clarify that. Another thing, when you're done with your length, I found it easiest to end with the up zag. I don't know if that would be the zig or the zag. So when your both ends are going in this direction. On the bracelet, we had one going up and one going down, but this with the necklace, it goes around the neck nicely if you have the 2 ends looking like that. All right, so go on, finish up your length, and then meet me back here, and we'll move on. We're back. So let's put some of these pretty rose quartz beads on. Now, of course, it's going to look funny because I have all these different colors, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some Wildfire here, and I think Wildfire, it's a little thicker thread, so I like the way it goes through the spaces better because you're not really going through any beads here. You're just kind of going through spaces. But you can use anything you like. So put on, you know, a length of thread and add a stop bead. You know, enough to get you through around, around the entire necklace. And 3 feet or so. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to start on this end. I'm just going to sew through this second unit. I'm just sewing through the middle of the unit. I'm not sewing through any beads. I'm sewing through the middle of the unit, and I'm coming out of the middle of the unit on the other side. So that's how you're going to start. That's where you're going to place. And make sure, like if your thread moves over like that, just pull it over so it's exiting the center of that unit. Now I'm going to pick up, oh, I forgot let me grab a bead here. Okay, so pick up an 11-0, and this is going to look weird because I'm using the green one. Your 6mm bead and an 11-0, like that. And you're going to sew through this unit here. So the second one from the top here. So here, but when you come out the other side, you want to slant it, your needle. See how my needle is slanting? So I'm exiting, let me get that in there again, there. So I'm exiting the second unit on this side, so 1, 2, but I'm going at a slant so that I go through the center of each one of those units. And that kind of puts the bead on in the center here. You see that? Here, we'll do that again. So now I'm exiting the center hole of the second one in right here. Just make sure if it moves over, just pull it over there. I'm going to pick up an 11-0, a rose quartz, or you know, whatever your 6mm bead. These look more like 7mm, but whatever fits there. I mean, I think that looks pretty. And then I'm going to sew through the second unit here. So here's my first. I'm just going to sew through the hole, but you want to sew on the diagonal. See how I'm sewing on the diagonal? So I come through the second center of the center of that second unit. So you see how I go on the diagonal to get that to fit to go in. And when I do that, and then just kind of pull it into place, that should center me pretty well. Let's see. Did that work? Yeah. Okay, so then we're centered on that side. And you're just going to continue doing this and make sure that you're popping through the center of that unit. And we'll do one more. 11-0, your 6mm, 11-0. So exiting that middle of that center unit, that second unit here. I'm just going to go through the middle of the, I'm going to count from here, 1 second unit here, but I want to come through, go on the diagonal and come through that second unit in 1, 2. And if you find a better way to get these on, or like how to center them or whatever, you know, of course that's fine too, whatever works for you. But I think that would be so pretty with all pink and then the rose quartz. Wouldn't that be nice? So just keep doing that all the way down to the end. At this point, you can actually sew in your end threads because we really don't need those. And you can even sew these threads in when you're done putting on all your 6mm. All right, so get that done and come back and we'll continue. Okay, so let's pretend we're at our last, adding our last 11-0, 6mm 11-0. If I can grab it, there you go. So we're exiting, you know, we've come out of the center right here, and you want to come down the second center hole, but just go straight through this time. You don't have to slant anything because we're just ending it off at this point. So this is going to be sort of like the top of your necklace. Of course, it's tiny. And at this point, you can just sew this thread in, you know, when you're all the way done, and just sew it in, and we'll add thread on for the next step. Okay, so I have worked up a little piece all in one color so that you can get a real idea of how it's going to look. I've sewn both threads in on the ends. And just a tip for those of you who are maybe just watching and you're not working with me, when you sew your ends in, sew them away from the end here because we're going to be using those beads again. So just a tip for the future for any, you know, bracelet, necklace, when you sew your ends and try to not sew them towards the end of where you might use the beads again, go this way. All right. So here I've added a thread. And you want it, I mean, you want to be able to, if you can do the entire first side with one thread, that would be good. We're just going to put 11-0s. We're going to border a border of 11-0s all the way around. And if you want to make it really long, you could do the border around and just do the other side, whichever you prefer. So I'm exiting. Pull in. There we go. This bead right here, so the top bead of this end unit, I'm just going to pick up an 11-0 and I'm going to sew through the next bead. And I'm going to do that all the way down the line. Like this, and make sure you're sewing them, you know, you're putting all the beads in. So from here, you're going right over to here. And you don't have to pull it tight. You can just pull it, do some nice even tension. It will pull together and you'll get a curve. This necklace curves very nicely on its own. So just, you can just give it a little snug pull. And if it starts to wonk out of shape, go out of shape, just put it back in shape. Just kind of sew it in the shape you want it. So just keep going down like that. And you just want to get the whole border done. If you like, if you have enough thread, when you come out of here, you can go through this one and then sew through this bead and just do the other side all the way around, or add another thread to do your other border. And then you can sew those threads in, and we'll put the clasp on separately. All right, see you in a few. Okay, we're back, and here's my necklace so far. The border looks great, doesn't it? And it really made it curve beautifully. I kind of push it into shape a little bit, but it just really curves nicely on its own. So here I've added a thread, and I'm exiting this last pink bead here. Let me pull in. Okay, I just want to move my thread. I'm just going to make sure it exits right here. So when I hold it this way, I'm going to use this bead and this bead to put my clasp on. So what I did is I took my toggle clasp and the ring. I added 2 6mm 20 gauge jump rings to the hole right there, and did the same thing on the toggle bar. Okay, so we'll put the ring on first. So I'm going to pick up 4 11/0 seed beads. And I'm just going to go right through the 2 rings that I put on, and the beads will follow. You just make sure, push them down. So here you go. So there are my 4 beads are on. And I'm just going to sew through the same, the top of the bead on the other side. So through the same hole. So here I've sewn through the top of this one, and then I'm going to sew through the top of that one. So the thread is going in the same direction on either side, so that I have 4 seed beads on now. I'm going to pick up 4 more of my 11/0s, exiting that pink bead right there. I'm going to sew back through the 2 jump rings, and then through this bead on this side. So I've just circled my rings and make sure that they're all sitting nicely. So let me give it a pull. There we go. Okay, so you see how that you've just got these 2 lines of 4 beads on, going through the rings. And let me just make sure that it's sitting nice. Yeah, looks good. And so you're exiting this pink bead. That's where we attached. So just go back up and sew through all your beads again. So here we'll go through these 2. And these 2. So those are the 4 rings on one side. Go back through the pink bead. So the connecting bead there, like that. And then you got it. Go through the 4 on this side. So that's 1. Can't see them, but I know it's there. Let's see, 2, 3, and 4. And see if you can hop back through that bead, that pink bead, where you're connected, like that. And if you want to, at this point, you can add a little trim bead around, all the way around. So here, I'll show you how you do that. So we're exiting the pink one. Pick up a 11/0, sew through the next pink one. Pick up an 11/0, sew through the next pink one. The one at the base there. Pick up an 11/0 through this guy. You might have to change your needle size at any point here if it gets tight. There. And then 1 more through this one. Just like that. So then you're going to have, this is going to be tight. Oh, actually that worked okay. So see, then I've kind of decorated around the edge, and then you just want to sew this thread in. So sew in this direction somewhere, and you've got one end of your clasp on. All right, so get that done and come back and we'll do the other side. Okay, let's do the other side. So let me pull in. So again, on this side, I want to add a thread, and I want the thread to come out this bead right here. Just corresponds with the other side. So I'm going to put my clasp over these 2 beads here. So I'm going to pick up 12 11/0s, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I'm going to go through the 2 rings like that. Just make sure you... I just picked 12 because you want a little bit of room to be able to fit the toggle bar through this loop. So you need a little bit of little space right here. So 12 seemed to work. So here I have my 12 beads on, exiting right here. I'm just going to go through the other side like that. That's what it looks like. Now on the necklace, I did a double line of beads. On the bracelet, I didn't. So let's do 12 again. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Because I just felt like maybe it would just be really much stronger. So just going to go back through with 12 more beads on that side, and then I'm going to sew through, that center connection bead again. And when I pull, make sure they all go through. Give them a little push. You might have to fuss with them just a little bit to get them straight. Let's see, gonna work. Yes, okay, so we'll have to play with them a little bit, but they will work. Okay, so I'm exiting that pink bead right here. I'm just going to do the same thing I did with the other side. I'm going to just go through all the beads on this side. And don't worry, it looks kind of strange at the moment, but stay with me. There. Be careful of don't get caught. Then down this way. Then I'm going to go through here, and then I'm going to connect. I'm just going to reinforce the other side. So when I reinforce, I'm going to go back up through all these beads here. See how it starts to straighten out once you get the second thread through. Like that. Back through this one. Yeah. Like that. And now, see, when you kind of press it, it stays together. And you have a double row of beads there. And if you like, you can also do that little bit of edging here. So picking up a gold bead, putting it there. So on the front it shows all gold, or all whatever your edge bead is. There. This one. And this one. And then you're just going to sew that thread in, and you'll kind of pull these a little bit so they're nice and straight. Give them a little push. And like I said, I like the double, but you can just do one. If you want to just do one loop, you can. But I think the double is nice and strong. All right, so sew that in and then come on back and we'll finish up. Okay, we're back and we're done. And look how pretty it looks in this pink. I really want to make an entire necklace out of it. So nice. Love it in the black and silver, of course. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for all the giveaway beads. I'll be showing you those and giving you instructions on how to enter. Okay, so here's the Toho Challenge kit for 2022. So this is the yearly beading challenge. I have 2 of these kits to give away, and I want to thank Eureka Crystal Beads for providing those kits to me for the giveaway. So thank you so much. So 2 of you will receive a kit, and I will put a link to the giveaway in the description box below this video. You must be 18 years old or older to participate and a subscriber to my channel. I will put a time limit on entries, and it will be from a week from when this video, whenever this video is posted, a week later, I will notify you by email if you are a winner, and it's open to everyone, everywhere. All right, let's get a look at these beads. So here we go. So Toho Challenge 2022 that's featuring Toho Japanese seed beads and Starman Czech glass beads. And on the back of this card, which you will receive in your kit, are all the instructions and rules for the participants. And the name of this, or the theme of this, or the name is Dawn of a New Day 2022 Toho Challenge. Here is a list of all the beads. And, you know, you'll just read this whole thing. I'll put a link in the description box below the video to Eureka Crystal Beads website where they kind of explain the challenge a little bit, if you'd like to look at that as well. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside. Here are the color themes. Aren't they gorgeous? Look at these beautiful color themes. Gorgeous. These palettes are gorgeous. All right, let's get a look at the beads. So I'm not going to take them out of the tubes, but I will give you a look here. So here we have, I'm going to start with all of these Toho seed beads, and we've got an 11-0. Look at that gorgeous color. It's galvanized aluminum, matte galvanized aluminum. We've got a hex here, a 6-0, and a 15-0. So beautiful. Look at the glow on those. Love those. Very inspiring. Lots of different shapes, colors. Next up, we have some of these really pretty lavender. This is opaque frosted lavender. We have an opaque bead, and we have a luster here. A transparent rainbow amethyst, so amethysty, mauvey colors, very beautiful. Put those out. And we've got these really, really pretty, look at that gorgeous color, rosaline. You have a magatama and a 15-0, and we've got a little Toho Aiko here as well. We've got a couple of them, but I'll show you the others in a minute. And I believe you can add a focal bead to your entry if you like, so you can do a bezel. But you'll read the the rules so that you know them all. Right, so we have another Toho Aiko here, and look at these gorgeous beads, these colors. We've got a nibbit, we've got another Aiko. They're my favorite. These are precision cylinder beads. They weave up so nicely for a bezel. They're just so perfect. I love them. We have a what's this guy? This is a diamond bead, a 2-hole bead, and isn't that a gorgeous sort of luster, opaque luster color? The nibbit and the 6-0. Look how pretty these all look together. I could see a gorgeous bezel with a light blue stone, maybe an aqua stone. Be gorgeous. Here we go. And then we've got this little grouping here that's all stuck together. So these, we have a beautiful, I love that they put this pop of silver in, because this gold, it goes with gold or silver. I love a metallic like that goes with either one. We've got a hex here and a matte. We've got a nice 8-0 right there. Very nice. We've got a checkmate lentil bead, again in that pretty champagne color. Look how nice that looks with everything here. And you got a little spool of 1G beading thread in this pretty sort of peachy color. Isn't that nice? All right, so here you go. Here is the beading challenge beads. Don't forget to check the link below in this video to the giveaway so you can win one of these. How cool is that? This is a gorgeous, gorgeous selection of beads here. All right, so I want to thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.